All right, so you want the inside scoop on Asana's latest performance, their Q4 and full fiscal year 2025 results. We've got the press release, and we're going way beyond just the numbers here. This is about understanding what this all means for the future of work, especially with all this AI buzz going around.
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack here. And I think what's really interesting is how Asana is positioning themselves.
Yeah.
They're not shying away from the whole AI wave. They're riding it.
Yeah, Moskovitz, Asana's CEO, he practically jumps off the page with his excitement about their new AI studio. And transformative, that's a big word to throw around, right? But they're putting some serious wheat behind it.
It's more than just talk, though. Look at the early customer adoption rates and the actual credit usage for AI features. It's translating into a multi-million-dollar pipeline already.
Mhm.
That's a strong signal that people are actually finding value in these tools, not just, playing around.
Which is key because there's a difference between flashy features and real, workflow integration.
Yeah.
But this goes beyond just Asana's own platform, right? They're linking up with some major players.
Exactly. Remember that announcement at Re.8 about their integration with Amazon's quantum business AI? Well, that's becoming a reality now, letting users pull data from various apps without even leaving Asana. This is about connecting the dots in a way that wasn't possible before.
So it's not just about automating those tasks, it's about changing how we approach work entirely. But while they're gazing at the AI horizon, they're also keeping their feet firmly on the ground when it comes to, profitability.
Sana's CFO, Sonali Parekh, she really hammered home this idea of a pivotal year. And it's not just about stabilizing metrics, they're talking about becoming a true multi-product company. And of course, that holy grail for investors, positive free cash flow for the entire year.
Which is music to the ears of anyone watching the markets these days, especially in tech. But let's be real, revenue growth is a bit more subdued than in previous years. 10% year over year for Q4, 11% for the full year. That's not exactly setting the world on fire.
Yeah, but we have to look at this in context, though. The overall economic climate is a huge factor, and that light holding steady is an achievement in itself. It shows a degree of resilience. What's more telling is how they're growing their core customer base. Those spending $5,000 or more annually, that's a sweet spot for them.
And it indicates that their strategy of targeting larger organizations might be gaining some traction. But what about holding on to those customers? Retention is critical in this environment.
Absolutely. And Asana's numbers here are actually pretty impressive. A 96% dollar-based net retention rate overall for Q4 is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you break it down. 97% for those core customers, and even 96% for the heavy hitters, the ones spending $100,000 or more.
That's the kind of stickiness you want to see, especially with those larger enterprises. It suggests they're finding real value in the platform and are willing to commit even when budgets are tight. And this ties in nicely with all the buzz they're generating in the industry, right? All those awards and recognitions they've been racking up.
It's not just about vanity, though. Being named a leader by Gartner and IDC for collaborative work management carries real weight. Then you've got the G2 awards, which are based on actual user feedback and market presence. 6 top rankings, including best software and project management software.
This all contributes to building credibility, which is crucial as they try to break into those new markets and attract those larger enterprise clients. So it's not just about the numbers, it's about the overall narrative that Asana is building.
Or it's about demonstrating that they're not just a passing fad. They're a serious contender in the work management space, and they're here to stay. This narrative about being more than just a task list company, it's not just marketing fluff. Let's dig into how they're actually achieving this transformation, especially when it comes to attracting those larger enterprises.
You're right, there's got to be substance behind the slogans. We talked about those core customers, the ones spending $5,000 or more, and that segment is growing at a healthy clip. Plus, they're holding on to those bigger spenders, the ones dropping $100,000 or more each year. That tells me they're offering something more comprehensive than just checking off to-dos.
Exactly. Those larger customers are likely using Asana to orchestrate those complex workflows across multiple teams, gaining insights into their work that they just couldn't get from a simple task list. This is where Asana's multi-product strategy comes into play.
Okay, so let's get specific. What are these multiple products they're talking about? What makes them stand out from the crowd?
We can glean some insights from their press release and other public statements. Take their goals feature, for instance. It's not just about individual tasks, it's about aligning teams around those common objectives and tracking progress towards those goals. Then you've got the integrations they're building, like the one with Amazon's quantum business AI we mentioned earlier.
Right, that's a big one. Being able to pull information from other apps directly into Asana, it's like creating a central nervous system for your work. That's got to be a huge draw for those larger companies trying to streamline their operations.
Absolutely. It positions Asana as the hub for all work-related activity, not just another tool in the shed. But this all begs the question, how does this translate into actual revenue growth? We've seen those numbers are a bit sluggish overall.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. Can they convince enough businesses, especially those large enterprises, that their platform is worth the investment? That it's not just a nice to have, but a must have?
It all comes down to demonstrating that value proposition, showing how their platform can boost productivity, enhance collaboration, and ultimately impact the bottom line. And this is where those industry awards and recognitions play a key role.
They provide that social proof, that stamp of approval that can sway potential buyers. Hey, if Gartner and IDC say they're a leader, they must be doing something right.
Precisely. Combine that with strong customer retention numbers, and it sends a powerful message. But even with all these pieces seemingly falling into place, there's still some unanswered questions. For example, how exactly do they plan to achieve non-GAAP profitability next year? What specific levers are they pulling?
Right. Are there cost-cutting measures on the horizon? Will they continue to invest heavily in research and development? These are all things investors will be watching closely.
And let's not forget about the competitive landscape.
Mm-hmm.
The work management space is crowded with players like Monday.com, ClickUp, and even Microsoft vying for market share. Asana needs to differentiate itself to prove that their approach, especially their focus on AI, is the winning formula.
So it's not just about building a great product, it's about convincing the market that it's the best solution out there. And that brings us back to that big bet on AI. Is it going to pay off? Will it truly revolutionize the way we work, or is it just hype?
That's the question we're all grappling with. To answer it, we need to see concrete examples of how AI is being utilized by Asana's customers, especially those large enterprises. Are they seeing tangible benefits? Are they truly changing how they work because of these AI-powered tools?
And that takes us beyond just Asana. It speaks to the larger question of how AI will shape the future of work. This is a theme we'll explore further as we wrap up this deep dive. So we've covered a lot of ground here. AI profitability, this big push to become more than just a task management tool. But let's bring it all from now. What does this deep dive into Asana actually mean for you, someone who's tuned in because you're interested in the future of work?
It's a great question, and I think it goes beyond just one company's performance. Asana's heavy investment in AI, it's a signal that the nature of work itself is changing. We're not just talking about automating those tasks. It's about augmenting human capabilities, surfacing insights we might miss, and connecting the dots between different parts of our work lives.
And this isn't some far-off future we're talking about. We see it in their customer adoption rates, the actual usage of those AI features. It's happening right now, and that's something to pay attention to.
Absolutely. It's not about, you know, jumping on every tech trend, but it is worth exploring how these tools can impact your own work, your team, your entire organization. What are the possibilities? What are the potential pitfalls? These are questions we all need to be asking.
And this ties into the bigger economic picture. Asana's laser focus on profitability is a sign of the times. Investors are demanding it, especially in the tech sector. Growth at all costs is no longer the mantra.
It's about sustainable growth, finding that sweet spot between investing in innovation and delivering real value to shareholders. And that's a balancing act many companies are struggling with right now.
Which brings us to Asana's ambition to become more than just a task management tool. They want to be the go-to platform for work management, helping teams achieve their goals, make smarter decisions. It's a compelling vision, but can they execute?
That's the key question. The competitive landscape is fierce, and there are some big players out there. Asana needs to prove that their approach, particularly their focus on AI, is the differentiator. That it's not just another feature, but a fundamental shift in how we approach work.
So for you, the listener, this deep dive is an invitation to think critically. Watch how Asana evolves, pay attention to their financial performance, but also look beyond the numbers. How are their AI features being used in the real world? Are they living up to the hype?
And don't be afraid to do your own exploration. What tools and technologies are emerging that could impact your work? How can you stay ahead of the curve? The future of work is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to engage with it thoughtfully.
Well said. Asana's journey is a microcosm of the larger trends we're seeing in the world of work. It's a story that's still being written, and we'll be here to help you make sense of it all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.